Hello, 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 and welcome everyone to Love My Body, Love Myself. This show is really dedicated and I am committed to bringing content to help women really love themselves and the bodies that we call home. And so this is our very first show, and I am super excited to just launch this passion project, to really launch this with you. And I have two really phenomenal guests on the show today. But before I get started, I wanted to share just a little something personal because as women, we play many roles, right? We have a lot of roles that we take on. And a lot of times, what's missing in those roles is us. We forget how to take care of us. We take care of everyone else and everything else, and we forget to take care of ourselves. And so that's what this is about. I even just before the show, I was finishing up dinner like 10 minutes ago. I was finishing up dinner, making dinner for the family, and thinking about all the things that I should have done before this launch, all the shoulda, woulda, couldas, right? I should have promoted it more. I should have done this. I should have done that. And then I had to stop myself and realize that I did the best that I could do, and that is enough. And I have to be good with it being enough, and really had to bring myself back into myself because we do that. And as my friend Megan Fenio says, I am enough. So I have to rest in the fact that I did everything that I could do with the resources I had, and just leave it at that. And just enjoy this moment, enjoy this launch. So if you are watching, I want to take time to just say hi to those who are watching us live here. And even if you're watching on replay, thank you so much. I welcome you. Those of you who are watching on Facebook, we're streaming on multiple pages on Facebook. Those of you who are also on YouTube, welcome. And if you are on YouTube, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to subscribe to my channel. I have a lot of different content on that channel. And if you are on LinkedIn, hello, and thank you for watching on LinkedIn. Hello, Stacy. Thank you so much for joining. I want to invite you that if you are on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, or Twitch, yes, thank you, Twitch. Welcome. Please head over to facebook.com/groups/LMBLM. And that stands for Love My Body, Love Myself. Join our community, join our Facebook community, because we want to share content there. We want to uplift and encourage you in that group and share our stories. So come on over and join us over on our Facebook group. If you are not yet watching on YouTube, you can go on over to our YouTube channels. It's youtube.com/C/Alicia Couri. It is going across the bottom of the screen as well. So you can go to our YouTube channel. And if you want to connect with me, you can go to Alicia360.com, Alicia360.com, and you can connect with me on all social media channels. You can also book an appointment with me. You can WhatsApp me. You can text me, call me. That is my connection hub. So you can go to Alicia360.com and connect with me. So this show is for women. I'm going to have women guests on, but also some male guests to give their perspective on certain things as well. So I am inviting you, if you are interested in a guest appearance or a sponsorship of the show. We are looking for sponsors as well. Just email support@aliciacouri.com for any guest opportunities or sponsorship opportunities, and we will respond to you there at support@aliciacouri.com. This show, however, is sponsored by, this Love My Body, Love Myself show is sponsored by Alicia Couri, Inc. For all your needs for team development and leadership development. This is where the companies come to Alicia Couri, Inc. for that. And you can visit our website at aliciacouri.com. So I'm doing something pretty interesting today with this show, in that I am here live, but the show is pre-recorded, and I love the fact that it's pre-recorded because we're going to get deep into some things, and I want my guests to feel comfortable. And so if we pre-record the show and there's something that they don't feel they really want to release yet, we have an opportunity to edit that. If we go live, I don't want people holding stuff back. I want them to really share from the heart, and then we can go in the editing process. And you know, if something gets a little too personal that they don't want aired, we can always edit that out. But I really want them to have a safe space, our guests to have a safe space to express what they want. So it is pre-recorded. So you will see some little differences happening as we go through the show. And my guests coming up, I'm super excited for them. I have Stacey Simpson, who is amazing, and Davica Williams. So stick around, and I am going to share that with you right now in the broadcast. Oh, Stacey, yes, no holds barred for you. You are an open book. Thank you, sweetie. Yes, I'm ready. Let's get going with our interview. So I am really super excited to share our guests with you today. And let me introduce you to them. First up, I have Davika. So Davika began her journey to self-love during her adolescence, and it became her mission during her freshman year at Florida Memorial University. As a professional model, she's used her visibility and influence to mentor young women from high school age to young professional women. Davi and her identical twin sister, Demetria, faced their own struggles and challenges to bring a strong message of body positivity. Demi was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, scleroderma, which took a toll on her physical body, but never her mind, her will, or her determination. Davi is carrying on some of the work her sister began here on this earth. And my next guest is also a phenomenal woman, Stacey. And Stacey is a warrior. And she has overcome so many difficult challenges in her life. She began in pageants at the age of 16 to boost her confidence after her face was smashed in during a domestic violence incident. And it helped her overcome, well, I won't say overcome, but it helped her deal better with Asperger's. So Stacey has also battled cancer 4 times and has come back from the brink of death due to heart failure. Her journey to loving herself has been challenging, especially in her words, having to not listen to that lizard brain, I'm sure that we all fall victim to. And she's learned to love herself through sharing her stories of perseverance, wearing a crown, and competing in pageantry. So these women are not atypical. They are amazing. From pageantry to modeling, they cover it all. And it's not what you might expect. So I am super, super excited to welcome to the show Stacey and Davika. Yay! So ladies, yes, beauty queens and models, I am surrounded by beauty today. So Stacey, actually, I want to start with Davika. I'll start with you, and I want to ask you, what were some of the challenges that you faced both internally and from the outside when you started modeling as a teenager?
Oh, wow. But thank you for having me. I just want to say that. I got super excited just hearing the introduction of Stacey. So when you called me first, I was like, I was already in, just ready to go in, just be empowered and inspired. But thank you for allowing me to go first, and I will start there. So for me, being an Afro-Latina woman in Miami, of Bahamian and Colombian descent. That was one of the first things challenges that I had to overcome dealing with colorism. For those people who don't understand what colorism is basically reverse racism amongst the same ethnic group. So I wasn't black enough to be black, and I wasn't Latina enough to be Latina because I didn't speak that well Spanish. But my family, my mother speak it fluently. But being around that I come from, my family's the melting pot. So we represent the Caribbean, the Afro-Caribbean. We represent the Latin America from Central and South America. And of course, these good old American states. So my family is a mishmash of that. So when I think about that and we think about norms of beauty, we have a very Eurocentric model of what beauty looks like. And as a plus size girl, folks say I'm not plus size anymore because I'm shrunk down to a size 12, but I've always been the most, my twin sister and I have always been the tallest and always been the more voluptuous women. So I had to deal with the colorism, had to deal with the body shaming because I didn't fit that perfect slim straight size 2 to size 4, and people say you're beautiful for a fat girl. So from young I had to reauthor the narrative of being pretty but for a fat girl, and oh, you would be even prettier if you wasn't what? Fat. So I had to basically rechange the narrative of how I saw myself, because I always saw myself as beautiful, and not on my external side, but I knew that I had a gift of, I had a nurturing and a healing element about myself that I learned very, very young through to various course of traumatic experiences. But when it comes to dealing with modeling, those were the voices, external voices and internal voices that I had to deal with. One thing I remember when I got into college, when I really started, when it comes to modeling and doing commercials, one of my family members, I won't say who, said to me when I wanted to go into communications, don't nobody want to see a fat girl in front of the camera, because that had been their experiences growing up. That was the language that was said to them. They experienced body shaming because they too were considered overweight. And I didn't even realize that a family member was considered to be morbidly obese at the time. Being surrounded by body shaming and the word of fat shaming all my life, that was always a consistent struggle for me to pep talk myself, to show up to the casting call. When I debuted as a professional model, my very first show, I modeled in front of the Kimora Lee Simmons and Tyra Banks. So that was my introduction, and I was the only plus size model in that particular show on South Beach my freshman year of college. I was discovered by a Christian designer, and that's how my modeling career catapulted. My first show, it was with the big dogs in the fashion world. So I defied it all, the fat girl and all.
I got goosies.
That is so awesome. That is so incredible. I love that. And you had to keep talking yourself through that because the outside pressure of, again, being the fat girl, being not good enough. Why do you think anybody's going to want to see you or like you and want to put you in front of, and on camera in front of everybody else? And you had that inner fortitude to battle that. And was it easier being a twin, having that between yourselves, being able to battle that together versus just having to do it on your own, or were you doing it on your own?
OMG, so that's another element that as I'm, and it's not a shameless plug, but as I'm working on the memoir, I'm really going to go into that on this leg of the journey, talk about that, because I was always 100 pounds smaller than Demetria, anywhere between 180, right? Wow. So growing up, she would always say, you're the golden child, you're the pretty one, all the boys like you. And it really wasn't because I was the smaller twin, anywhere between 80 to 100 pounds. I was the girly girl. Demetria was the tom girl, and I had to princess her out. Like, I had to put the girly girl touch on her. And
sprinkle her with some dust, that sparkle dust.
Sprinkle that fairy dust on her. I was her fairy glam twin mother, okay? And we would have to have that twin dichotomy because I'm like her refracted mirror. So it's like you see this mirror of you, at 80 pounds to 100 pounds lighter. And me, I see the mirror of me at a beautiful 80 to 100 pounds fuller, because I used to tell Demetria, no, you're the prettier twin. Like, I will always talk about all her features that differed slightly from mine that I loved and I obsessed over. And she used to be like, stop drawing the mole on your face. People are going to think that you're me. And I'm like, I think it's so beautiful and I love your dimple and I don't have that dimple. And she used to always be so asphyxiated on my body size because of the fat shaming that we both went through. And it wasn't until our bodies start getting more congruent and she lost all the weight prior to her body changing due to later on becoming the diagnosis with autoimmune disease. You couldn't tell her anything, okay? Sister girl was in my clothes. I'm like, would you stay out my clothes? And we enjoyed physically being similar
Being,
in size. And when she got down to that size, you no longer heard her fat shaming. She embraced her body. She loved her body. She says, I feel the most sexiest I've ever felt in my life. And so I think that when you get to the place that when you find inner peace and when you love how you look at any part of the weight loss or weight gain journey, because there's beauties that want to gain weight, you have to love where you are as you're going through that evolution. But it was always that back and forth well until Demetria transitioned at 36. Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
Wow. That's amazing. And you know, let me pivot to Stacy for a moment, because Stacy, was there a time in your life when you did not love yourself? And when was that? And what were those feelings around not loving yourself?
Well, pretty much my whole life until I was mid 40s, I really was not okay. Well, maybe early 40s, I wasn't really okay with who I was. I unfortunately came from a very difficult household. I got a lot of that body shaming directly from my family. When I started in pageantry, I'm not going to say I was a size 2, but I was probably a 4'6". And I was constantly being told, you're too fat, you're too heavy, you've got to lose weight. And I became anorexic, honestly. So, by the time I was 18, I was eating every couple of days. Instead of actually, trying to fit into this mold that I had created not only for myself, but also, you know, I had internalized, probably because of the Asperger's and just the negative talk that I was getting externally. Everything was very internal, and I had this. I go back and I look at pictures, and you can see every rib, you can see every bone in my body,
Wow.
and my first major pageant, I look back now and I was a shell of a woman, and you can see it physically. I was sunken in, and I thought, wow, how can I have thought I was fat that whole time? And it really, really came from my family, and also the man I was dating at the time. And I hung on to that. And as I got older, I started to gain weight and started to get curves. Started competing in my first Mrs. pageants, and knew that being a size 8 wasn't going to cut it, at that level at that point. But I still, got up on stage and, placed, and I thought, okay, well, I guess that's okay. And then after being diagnosed with my first cancer, which they gave me 8 weeks to live at the age of 30, it took 5 years for me to really deal with that. I gained over 100 pounds during my chemotherapy, because my thyroid stopped working because of radiation.
Because
I
it was in your neck.
Right, I had two major tumors. I had one attached to my heart, one was wrapped around my neck, um, and my thyroid just stopped. And doctors kept telling me, "Well, just stop eating so much. Start exercising more." I'm like, I I run a gymnastics company. I work out every single day. Like, I don't understand. And finally, got to another doctor that said, "Oh, wait, your thyroid isn't working." And I went, "Oh, well, that could have been it." Uh,
That could have
but
been.
I mean, I'm a size 26 at this point. I weigh almost 300 pounds,
Wow.
and I'm 5'3". So, like, it was like a big deal. So I went through a metamorphosis. I started exercising, seriously exercising every single day. I dropped the 100 pounds in about 6 months, which was crazy. But thank you. But it was crazy. Like it was in my head. And even then, I sat at like I was like 180. I mean, numbers are numbers. Who cares? Whatever.
Right.
But in my head, I liked the way I looked. I liked who I was. The guys that I was dating were like, "Couldn't you lose a few more pounds?" And I was like, "No, dude. Like,
Goodbye.
I work out twice a day. Like, I don't understand like what you don't like." Uh, and then I started competing in pageants again. And the very first pageant I went into, the director said, "Well, you sweetheart, you're you got an amazing story, but could you lose like 30 or 40 more pounds? Because I think you could win the national title if you're just willing to do this." And I went, "No, I'm not." So then let's turn it around a little bit. This was the beginning, I mean, probably right before plus size pageantry really started to, or plus size modeling even started to exist. I went into the very first plus size pageant and won my state title, and then was like, okay, this is it. I'm a size 14. I'm okay with myself. I'm going to embrace who I am and be all right with this. And at nationals, I was told that I was not plus size enough.
Wait, let me hear what Davi's.
Unmute yourself.
Story of my plus size modeling life. Oh man, we could have sidebar conversations about that. You're not big enough, and I'm like, you wait till I lose all this weight to tell me I'm not big enough. I can't. I'm not doing this with y'all. I'm not doing this with y'all.
I just paused the stream for a moment for the audio to catch up with the video because it seems like it was running ahead a little bit. So let's get back to it right now.
Seriously, that was it. I went, what? How can I not be plus size enough? You've given me these. I mean, and honestly, the craziest thing, I was 3 months pregnant when I competed. So I was like, okay, well, I'm sorry. So then I started doing achievement.
You tell him wait,
I just
wait
decided
6 months.
I found it.
Say wait 6 months. I'll be plus size
like,
enough for you.
Give
it 3 more months.
A couple of days. Just. I mean, maybe I was carrying it well, but I'm like, whatever. Like, and then I really had to dig deep and think, like, I did. It was a very difficult couple of years where I just was like, wait, I'm not good enough to do a regular pageant. I'm, or thin enough. I'm not fat enough to do a plus size pageant. So what am I going to do? I still want to tell my story. And I had a dream. I won a pageant, and that was how I would share my story. So I was like, okay, well, what am I going to do? And that was when I found achievement pageants that were all about what you did with your life. And I started winning and won numerous national, international titles. I have a national title now. And it really, to me, it was super important that I start celebrating not just who I was and how I looked, but the story. Because at the end of the day, this is a vehicle. This is your body that takes you to wherever you're going to go, but it's a vehicle. It's like getting inside of your car and go.
I love this conversation so much, and I just wanted to pause for a second because I want you to leave a comment. Let me know if you've ever felt what Davi was talking about with the fat shaming and not being, not being ethnic enough for your ethnicity. And then what Stacey's talking about, being told that, you have to lose weight to be acceptable. So leave a comment. Let me know if that's something that you've dealt with, or if you've experienced that in any way. And I'm going to go back to the video.
Going, okay, I got a Lexus, or I got a, a stink ass whatever car it is, but it takes me to where I need to go at the end of the day. It is not who
Awesome.
you are. So, and that was where that started to change. And then all of a sudden I just went, you know what? I am beautiful. And I am
Wow.
going to love who this person is because I love my story. I love what I've done. I have overcome so much. But it wasn't until I got to the third cancer that I went, maybe there's something to this.
Well, let me just take a break right here. I'm just going to take a quick break. So, we're taking a quick break for our sponsor. And our sponsor today is Alicia Couri Inc. So Love My Body, Love Myself is sponsored by Alicia Couri Inc., a boutique consulting firm that specializes in developing audaciously proactive leaders and teams using brain science and people data. And it is produced by the Red Carpet CEO. So let's get back to the show. So ladies, my next question for you guys, and either one of you could take it because both of your stories has this theme of not just being in the beauty and, you know, this glamorous industry, also the plus size, but what I want to focus on is the health aspect of your journey, because Davi talked about, you know, being plus size, but then her sister was heavier than she was. And then Demi was then diagnosed with an autoimmune disease. And then Stacey, you've dealt with with cancer and heart failure and everything else that you've dealt with. So how does the you know, your body really attacking itself, how does that play into self-care, self-love, and, you know, just really loving yourself? So whoever wants to take it first can jump in.
I go. I have to be honest, like that's a really tough question because I feel like my body is always attacking me. And there I'm going to tie a little bit of this into this too. I have really bad survivor's guilt. So I was diagnosed with my first cancer September 11th, 1996. So my 5-year anniversary is September 11th, 2001. And every year on September 11th, my whole world relives the moment that changed the world. And I I have to kind of like deal with that impact of wait, my body attacked me, and then 5 years later, the United States was attacked.
Right.
And how do I deal with all of those people that died? How do I deal with, I mean, and anytime someone dies of cancer, I feel badly because I feel like, why did I get this gift? I,
Mm-hmm.
and why am I still alive? And why does my body keep doing these crazy things to it? Because I mean, I know I can deal better now with the after effects and all of the secondary effects because I know that my original treatments are really what caused my body to go, whatever, we're going to just make you go wild and crazy. It's not my body attacking me, but in the beginning it was.
Mm-hmm.
And
But it
um,
was, now it's just the side effects from all the
right,
chemo and the
right,
other treatments from
right,
from the first diagnosis.
right.
That's where the
So,
heart failure came in, and because it damaged your heart so badly.
yeah, that I mean the tumor is the size of my hand attached to my heart. So,
Mm-hmm.
it there was I should have died. I got into a car accident. We found it in an X-ray. So, the ER doctor walked in and went, "Oh, look, these are these black spots that are in your body." And I went, "Oh, I guess I'm staying a couple of days."
Yeah.
I mean,
Wow.
it's like, okay, so how do I deal with that? Like I went through some really serious challenges with
Mm-hmm.
why did my body do this? Why is it not understanding my needs? Why does it not understand that I have this greater purpose that I think I have? And even though I didn't, I don't know, it's weird. I always felt like I had this big thing to do. And it
And that's
wasn't
why you're still
until,
here doing it.
yeah,
That's
I
why you're still
guess,
here
because
doing
that's
it,
it.
Stacey.
But serious, Alicia, I really, from a little kid, I would sit and do these crazy acceptance speeches. And I mean, like, talk to myself.
Davika,
I did
okay,
this
Davika has to say
crazy.
something.
Say something,
Say
Daddy. Say
something.
okay, but
Daddy, say
I
something.
did.
This is what I like to call one of those divine encounters. You know, when you are wildly running in the wilderness and you run across your tribe of wolves. Okay? Yes.
My people.
My people, we are people. We are kindred. So I'm gonna let you finish. And you said some things that I'm just gonna share that I just think is paramount to what you said and how our stories are so in
Align.
sync. It's powerful.
Well, share it now.
So as you were talking and talking about just the different stages of you getting these various different cancers and three and the trauma in 1911. So as I've been in my newness, awareness, and journey, because of my coming awareness post my sister's transition, due to 5 rare chronic debilitating autoimmune diseases, to which systemic scleroderma was the prominent autoimmune disease that caused the rest of them to manifest themselves. But in my exploration, even as to late night after midnight last night, there's this book that keeps coming up. And as you were talking, I had to go and look so I could tell you the name of the book, because in my meditation, in my prayer, spirit, as you say, people would say universe, the great source, for me it's God, Holy Spirit, was revealing to me that the onset of me battling autoimmune disease, number one, stress, does funky things to the body. But do you know our body retains the traumas that we have gone through, and even other traumas that has been decrypted in our DNA. So even when we were born in our mother's womb, we had to go through generational cycles of trauma that was passed down even in the birthing experience. But there's this book that says the body keeps the score. The body keeps all the trauma. So until we work through and heal through and stop the replication of it, we will no longer pass down those traumatic PTSD, DNA, things that go into our body, because it hides in our systems, right? So just even thinking about, how you willed and healed yourself through the power of spoken word, the power of thoughts and intention. And so every time I hear you, when you said, well, I know there's a greater purpose, I was a little girl too, saying acceptance speeches. The first time a mic was handed to me, I was in the 4th grade, and it haven't got me to stop talking ever since then. So when you said that, I was just like, OMG, people just think I'm crazy. Like, she lying. I'm like, no. Even sometimes now, I still can hear the speeches. I even hear conversations with my future husband, whomever he is. We have amazing conversations. The sis is not crazy. I'm not crazy at all. But these conversations have always been divine, I say, intel that the source gives me to let me know you're on course. I need you to stay focused. Hear my voice. Hear your voice. There's an audience waiting for you. And in this moment, there's audiences of other wolves and other people who need to hear the sound of your voice to say how you made it over cancer 3 times, how you're working through Asperger's. And it's because of your exterior shell that people want to look and listen to hear what you have to say.
Oof.
I love it. I love it. Thank you. And then the question I had before about, how did you experience that, whether through yourself or watching your sister or watching her body being attacked? How was that experience for you?
Ooh, for me, so when initially, just like Stacy, Demetria found out more information about her health due to a car accident. She had got in a car accident in her truck. There was a mass on her leg. Up until that point, it was almost at the 3-year mark where she's been advocating for her health, trying to figure out why her limbs and things were changing because of the disparities. And I'm just going to say that people of color, our healthcare system in America, they just told my sister, as a woman of color, you're vitamin D deficient and calcium deficient. That's why you're having these changes in your body. They would not go any more than that. Okay? So for 3 years, at that point, 2 doctors, okay? And when you triggered the car accident, made me remember that When she got to doctor number 3, is when they asked her if anybody in our family had rheumatoid arthritis. She said yes because my mother has arthritis and osteoporosis. By her saying yes to that, which rheumatoid arthritis, which Demetria was one of her diagnoses, is what granted us 3 years. So like you, when they finally diagnosed her, and when she found out she had 5 autoimmune diseases, she's likened to somebody in stage 4 cancer. They told her she may have 6 months to live at best, if maybe 10 years maximum. If they do certain type of stem cell treatment, like they were telling her all this stuff, and I was like, no, honey, you're healed. I believe in healing. I know I've healed my mom's tumors of 2 sizes of grapefruit in her head that she was born with. So I've seen God move, and I said, oh, I'm going to lay hands on you because I'm operating in that vein of faith. Oh, sis, my twin sister, you will be born with me, and we're going to be old and gray together. You're my life partner. And so to see her body deteriorate for me, after she was diagnosed, maybe about 9 months later, she was then put on oxygen. We were in the works for getting a reality show. Once she got on oxygen, they said, we're going to see how your audience take to her being on oxygen. So that's when I started pushing the platform, putting her out there. She didn't want a video blog. I said, Demi, you have to share. She was like, I'm fat. They done, she gained 140 pounds in 4 months. They pumped steroids in her. She was at the most depressed I had ever seen her. Okay, I'm talking about in the closet. I said she went back to college drinking. She was just like, I don't want nobody to see me like this. I'm fat, I'm ugly, and it was just a spiral. But when I got her to start video blogging, when I got her to tap back into her and honor how she was feeling, the weight loss, and me, supporting her, championing her, giving her glam makeovers, starting this massive campaign, which led us to the Capitol. But when she got on that oxygen, that day I ran in my bathroom. I didn't want her to see me. I locked both of my doors and I boo-hoo cried. I was like, God, what happened? I left her this morning. I kissed her. There's a whole oxygen machine plugged up. I mean, it was just like a matter of hours in my day. I just saw my whole world shift, and it was like a spiral after that. And the last 9 months of her life, she lost 80 pounds. Her health was turning around for the good, but because of the high steroids that they pumped in her over time, my sister went into cardiac arrest in her sleep on June 2nd, 2018. And so the stress, the shock of Demetria transitioning.
What is your birthday, Stacey?
June 1st.
June 1st, I got chills, was our last Wonder Twins Power World Domination meeting of the masterminds. We were mapping out our next year, what we were going to launch, what were we going to do, because the month of June is National Scleroderma Awareness Month.
Mm-hmm.
We're having this conversation about Demi. Okay?
Yeah.
And 9 months, I don't know something about the 9 months since I was rebirthing. We thank you, Holy Spirit, a symbiotic of the phoenix, their rebirthing cycle. I had to get treated for autoimmune antibodies because I was determined. So you guys are going to check us. They kept it missing because we're mirror image identical twins. I said, we got the same DNA. We've been through the same stuff. I was like, keep checking me. So I went on treatment, chemo. CellSep is a pill form of chemo for about a year. And I was very quiet about it. So it wasn't until recently, to my new awareness of the doctors wanting to put me on oxygen because I had pneumonia. And I said, I refuse. I see what y'all did to my sister. I'm not doing it. And so I just been on this space of eating more of a pescatarian, leaning towards a raw diet, doing what I have to do to get my body together, my mind, my body, my spirit. And I just believe that I'm healed and I'm whole. I definitely have seen changes. And I literally just came out of my first ever season of battling with depression because of grief of my sister and me now being away from my mommy at 1 to a mommy at 3. just understanding challenges as a single mom, as a full-time entrepreneur. Like, I went through all this stuff, and then literally about 7 weeks ago, her spirit came to me, was like, do you remember? And we were talking, she was talking about June the 1st, Stacy. Do you remember our conversation? And I came back, I literally came back to Davika. I had been living in autopilot for almost 3 years. I had given up, to be honest.
Wow.
I was just moving, and I'm just like, I've given up, and I have come back to an awareness of who I am and the greater mission that I was born to do. And that's what we are doing,
This is so
empowering, sharing
powerful.
our story.
Okay,
So
you're
powerful.
making me cry. Please stop.
You know, the journey to loving our bodies and loving ourselves is an ongoing journey from the day we're born. And there's so much that comes against us. There's so much that we have to fight to even break the odds, to put the odds on our side. And the way that you get the odds on your side is internally. You have to recognize and start building your own concept of what your beauty is. What is my beauty? Where do I fit into this? Like both of you were saying, as a young age, you knew you were born. Me too. I felt like I was born for something greater. And so all the challenges and the things that are put upon us are there, like trying to knock us out. But there's a greater mission that we step into. And I'm so honored that both of you booked this time together. Like, I didn't ask any of you to book
What are
what
the
date.
chances?
You both booked. We're all in red. We're all showing up. you know,
Bring it.
this first show is like off the charts. I couldn't have scripted it better myself if I sat down and tried. And I am truly honored for both of you being so open and transparent and sharing your struggles, but also sharing that you've come over onto the other side where you are loving yourselves and you have found that inner strength and inner love for the journey that you've been through and all the things that you've been, all the things that you've been through, and you're still standing. And I honor you and I applaud you and I love you ladies so much. So I'm just gonna because I want to wrap it up. I don't want to wrap it up, but I know I've taken up your time today. But if you have any closing words that you want to share with women who may be battling with some health challenge or not feeling enough, not feeling beautiful enough, if there's anything that you want to share with them as we close, who wants to go first? Just raise your hand. I'll let Stacy go. Go, Stacy.
So, the one thing that I think is the biggest thing for all of us is that we say the worst things to ourselves that we wouldn't let our worst enemies say to us. And we allow that internal dialogue to happen. And we need to stop that. We need to stop listening. Yeah, but it's true. We allow ourselves as women to let ourselves get in the way of our best power. And we allow ourselves to get in the way of the things that are really meant for us because we talk ourselves out of it. And so I learned this from being part of the body image movement, which is super important that we learn to empower ourselves by leaning into our discomfort, by taking a moment and allowing yourself to feel uncomfortable so that you can actually grow and get out of that place where you think you're not enough because you are enough. You can.
I'm going to let this catch up. And yes, Brenda, I totally agree. Brenda said earlier, I can't stop crying. These women are so inspiring. Yes, they are, Brenda. They are. I wanted the video and the audio to get a chance to catch up to itself again. So I'm going to bow out and let these ladies wrap up.
Do this. You can overcome any obstacle that comes before you if you just believe you can and stop listening to your lizard brain. So
And that's coming from a woman who has overcome. So she's just not talking, platitudes or just saying words. She has been in the fight, in the battle for her life, and she's overcome. And so thank you, Stacey, for that. And I almost called you Demi. Davi.
Well, Demi is here.
Yes, she is.
Stacy can have said it more eloquently and more perfect. And so, just to add to what Stacy has already asserted, you are worth the work. You are worth the work that it takes to change that internal dialogue. For you to feel like all the good things that people say about you, forget the negative stuff, but when you hear the good things that make you smile, the good things you say, they really see that about me? Yes, because that is who you are. So you are worth the work for you to see yourself and to feel that for yourself. And when I tell you, in various spaces, when I meet the miserable people that want to always have something to say, those are the people who are quitters, who aren't willing to do the work, and they themselves don't feel like they're worth the work. And I believe that everyone is worth the work of you discovering who you are and embracing everything about you. Let's grow and glow up out of shame and embrace our greatest selves. So I would say that.
yes, 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 yes.
You guys have filled my heart so big today. I can't even, I have no words. This whole interview, I've had chills, I've had goosebumps, I've had, my nose wants to run because I want to cry. This has been perfect, just perfect. Thank you so much. And I'm going to invite you guys back when, I'm going to invite you guys back to the show if you're willing to do another episode, whether together or separate, because there's so much richness that we can't fill it all in just one episode, but this has been just perfection. So thank you, ladies, so very much. I appreciate you, and I appreciate you being here today.
Thank you for giving us a platform to share our stories. Thank you for
You're very welcome.
being the amazing person, amazing human that you are, because that really gives us opportunities to be able to have these moments. As you say, Davi, these are divine moments. There's no accidents in the universe. We were brought together at this moment, and that wouldn't have happened without you, Alicia. So thank you so much.
My purpose, my gift. This is what I'm here to do. I'm here to serve. And I believe that this message of body positivity is important. It's for right now. It's for women. And it's for us to really band together as a sisterhood and support one another and love the body that you're in. You're not going to get another one. So love your body and love yourself. Self-care is real, and you need to pay attention to it. It is super important because it is a spirit, soul, and body connection, and you have to nourish each one of those parts to be whole. So do not neglect your mind, do not neglect your spirit, and do not neglect your body. And with that, I'm going to say goodbye, and I love you, and I'll see you next time. So I'm going to stop it right there. And I am so excited for this show. I am glad you guys joined me today. If you have a comment about the show, please drop it in the comments. Let us know how you enjoyed the show. If you have questions or comments for Davi or for Stacy, or even for me, make sure you leave it for us, and we will check in and reply to you. This show is airing every Tuesday at 6. So come on in and join us. And again, I want to make the invitation that if you would like to be a guest, or if you'd like to sponsor one of our shows, just go on over to support@aliciacouri.com for more details. Just leave us an email. Let us know that you're interested in being a part of the Love My Body, Love Myself show. And also to connect with me, you can go to alicia360.com. Just type it in your browser, alicia360.com, and you can connect with me on all platforms there. As well as I invite you to join our community on Facebook. Go to facebook.com/groups/LMBLM. And that's for Love My Body, Love Myself. It has been a pleasure sharing this with you. Next week, I have an expert on health and wellness on the show who will talk about women's health and the things that we need to do for our bodies. She is an expert in hormones and fitness and nutrition. And it's a really great conversation because she also had her own challenges with her self-love. And the more I talk to women, the more I realize how we're not alone in this journey. Body positivity is for everyone. And so it's up to us to begin to love this body that we've been given, love the body that we're in, regardless of what it looks like to society and what you think it should look like. Davi said it best when she said, throughout the journey, whether you're in the weight loss journey or weight gain journey, wherever you are in that journey, love every stage that you're in, love the body at every stage that it's in. So with that, I am going to say good night. Thank you for joining. Mwah, 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 mwah. And we'll be here next time. So make sure between now and then that you love your body, love yourself, take care of yourself, and I will see you next time.